So the animal that I chose for the project was the black-billed magpie, and the focal behavior was they're hovering over their fledglings weeks after they've left the nest. The reason I chose this hovering is because it entailed a few parts to it, including them teaching the fledglings how to communicate, how to fly, how to forage, and most importantly, protecting them from predators. Now, when I say hovering, I don't mean literally hovering over the fledglings. What I do mean is that there's almost always one adult that is on standby hiding in a tree watching over them, while the other one goes out and forages for either itself, the other adult, or for the fledgling. And that part, at least, happens during midday from 11 to 3 p.m. usually. And then early in the morning and later at night, before twilight hits, they tend to do the whole teaching them how to do things from themselves. And so all of this is a pretty big cost to the parents, and that's already on top of the cost of the female laying the eggs and incubating them. And eggs hatch after 18 days on average after the last egg is laid, and so she's in there for a very long time making sure the eggs are going to actually give her a brood. And then the nestlings take like over 20 days, upwards of like 30, before they can actually leave the nest. And then while they're nestlings, they spend upwards of 2 trips per hour on each young that they have, and they'll have upwards of 8 young usually. And so this can seem like it's a huge cost. Like, why would they put so much effort into the fledglings after they've already left the nest and they've already put so much in? Well, it's kind of like if you've already put in all this energy and then the fledglings leave and they're not able to take care of themselves and die, then you've basically had no point at all to any of what you've just done. And so they need to make sure that the fledglings will actually grow up and be able to take care of themselves and be part of the community, because magpies are actually very social creatures. And so if we were to cover some of Tinbergen's levels of analysis, we would have covered function, which is that they do it to make sure that their young are actually going to be fit for the environment that they live in and to keep them safe from predators. And then also developmentally, because young learn from their parents how to communicate, eat, fly, and what to be scared of, and then they're able to teach their young how to do that because they learned it from their parents. In fact, another relative is the Australian magpie, and they share songs among all ages in group living conditions. They're also very social, and vocal learning is very important to song learning for them, and the young copy from the adults, so it's quite possible that the black-billed magpies do pretty much the exact same thing. Magpies also have very conspicuous coloration. I mean, they're just a very bold black and white with very iridescent blue and green on their wings and tails. So a study found that they are 9 times more likely than certain jays to be detected with gray and light yellow backgrounds and just light colored backgrounds in general. And so what you'll see in the video that I have is that they use dark green backgrounds and shaded backgrounds and things that are very busy, and so that they're not as conspicuous, and they're 2/3 as likely with a green background to get caught by like a hawk or something than a jay is. And that last bit was more function, it wasn't developmental. And if we were to look at this from a causation perspective, you'd see that their benefit of staying as mates for life, because they're monogamous for their life, is high. They have a territory of 3 square hectares, and so there's an environmental benefit right there, and the signal costs are low because their broods, I know I said that they're upwards of 8 eggs, but they tend to be around 4 to 5, and so there's not very many young that they have, and then in that whole territory that they need to be able to identify. And so it's a low cost from the start, being able to know which young are yours. And then again, magpies are very social animals, and they depend on social settings to be happy and find mates, which the parents will get a benefit from, because that means that the social benefits are high. And if we were to look at this from an evolutionary perspective, phylogenetically, they're directly related to Eurasian magpies. And both Eurasian and black-billed magpies have young that beg really loudly for food. I mean, you can hear them from down the street here where I live, clear as day. And a study found that in Eurasian magpies, 26% of the eggs, or clutches, were preyed upon successfully before anything was hatched, and then after things hatched, 50% were preyed upon by predators of the Eurasian magpie. And so here we finally get to one of my recordings, and you can see that the adult is out, and the adult has actually just recently arrived here in this context, and now the birds, the fledglings, are feeling safe enough to come out. And you can even see how it's kind of hard to see them in this lighting because it's all dark green, and I even have the brightness up on my phone. And then here you can see an adult flying in to the tree, and you can tell that you can't see any of the fledglings that are in the tree, and as soon as the adult enters you can't see anything because of all the black. And there's another adult over there, but you can't see them because they move behind the bushes right as I zoomed in. But again, they don't do anything until the adult gets there. And now I was unable to get a good video of this, but here is a audio recording of them all talking to each other later at night. Now I was a little bit of a distance away from them when they were talking to each other because they went silent anytime you got near them, so you may need headphones in to hear this part, but you can hear them talking to each other and trying to teach each other how to communicate, or rather trying to teach the young how to communicate.